So I've been testing out the Technics SC-CX700 speakers for the last few weeks, and I have to say I've been pretty impressed with them. They are designed to be your all-in-one system. They've got an amp built into here. They give you 200 watts of power. They allow you to connect pretty much anything over either a wired or a wireless connection, and they sound pretty good too, but there are a few things we need to talk about first, so let's check them out. Before we go any further, I should point out that Technics did send me these to review, but they have no input into this video. This video is not sponsored by them. They have no input into what I say. And so what you hear is going to be my honest and unfiltered opinion. Who is sponsoring this video though is me, because if you're anything like me and you're sick and tired of trying to find background music for YouTube videos like this, or your Twitch streams, or you just want some music to chill out and relax to, well, there's now soundBEATS. I originally created that for me so that I would have background music for videos like this, but now I'm making it available for anyone to play without the risk of copyright strikes if you happen to use it in your streams or YouTube videos like this. I will put links to it in the description down below so you can check it out and let me know what you think. Now getting back to these speakers, and let's first talk about the design and let's talk about the color. Now this is a terracotta brown. It very much looks like a burnt orange. And it's not just the color, but it's the fabric as well. It's made out of a Dynamica fabric, which is like a suede finish. And if you never thought you needed to touch your speakers, well, you do now. If you don't like the terracotta brown, it is also available in a black and a light gray as well. However, in a sea of black and white speakers, it's quite a refreshing change to have something that, well, isn't. Those colors are designed to perfectly match their recent turntables, such as the SL40 CBT, which is the turntable that I've got behind me. On the front as well, you have these speaker grills. Now you don't have to have them if you don't want to, because they are magnetic, so you can easily take them off and then you can just see the speakers underneath. I think not having the grill on, it looks a lot cooler, but it's there to use the grill if you want to. Now size-wise, they are pretty compact considering how much stuff they're actually trying to cram into these speakers. These are around 12 inches tall and 8 inches wide, and they're no slouch in the weight department either, weighing around 20 pounds or 9 kilos. Now, as these are powered speakers, you don't need to connect these speakers to a separate amp because there is an amp built into these. So every connection you dial in or you connect directly to the speaker itself. And there's two ways to connect to the speaker. There is wired and wireless. If we look at the wired, all of the wires are going to feed into the main primary speaker. Now, if we switch to the back, you can see all of the different connection points that are on the back of the speaker. So we have two analog inputs down here. You've got the phono inputs. There's a phono preamp built into this speaker, so you can connect a turntable directly to it. And you've got a 3.5mm aux jack in there as well. You do also have an earth connection here as well for connecting your turntable earth to the earth of your speakers if you need that as well. And you've also got digital inputs as well. You've got a digital optical in here, and you've also got a USB-C connection here as well. You've also got an HDMI port here as well. So if you want to connect this to your TV to replace your soundbar or to replace the speakers that are in your TV, you can do that too. More on how these sound with a TV later. You've also got two Ethernet or two RJ45 ports here. One is a LAN port, so that can connect directly to your local network if you need it to. And there's a PS link port here, so you can connect your primary speaker directly to the secondary speaker using a cable, and you get a 3-meter cable out of the box. So there is only one cable joining one speaker to the other. However, if you don't want cables, you can also connect them both wirelessly. Just bear in mind that the sound quality does drop a little bit over Bluetooth. Over wired, you'll get 24-bit, 192 kilohertz. If you do switch to a wireless connection between the speakers, that drops down to 24 bits and 96 kilohertz. However, for most people, I don't think you're going to notice the difference. I do think the phono stage at the bottom is an odd choice to have in a speaker. I know it's trying to be the be-all and end-all of everything, so it's saying you don't need a phono preamp, but plenty of other turntables have phono preamps built into them. Or if you're the type of person that has lots of separates, you've probably got a separate preamp anyway, so then you don't need the phono preamp. I would have preferred an RCA port as well as a phono, so at least giving people options. You've got a button on here which is your left and right, so one useful feature is you can determine whether your main speaker is your left or right speaker. So depending upon your setup, you might want to have the main speaker on the left or the right hand side, which is pretty handy. There's also the mains power here, so both speakers have a mains cable going into each speaker, so they're powered separately. So that might be something to bear in mind when you're considering the placement of the speakers. And we've got a subwoofer out as well, which we'll talk about later as well. Now, as well as connecting all those things wired to this speaker, you can also connect things wirelessly as well. because the CX700 is equipped with not only Bluetooth, but also dual band Wi-Fi as well. So any of your streaming services like Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, Qobuz, take your pick, can then stream music wirelessly to these speakers, which is a super convenient feature to have. And if I'm being honest, it's room ready as well, forgot to mention that, but I think wireless is probably where this speaker is designed to be the most useful. It's a compact, powerful speaker, wireless connectivity, it's going to sit unobtrusively in a lounge. That, I think, is really their sweet spot of what they're trying to aim for. Now, once you've got this all set up, there are 3 ways of controlling this speaker. First up are the buttons on the top of the main speaker. So with these buttons across the top, you've got touch sensitive buttons for choosing your audio source. Then you've got push buttons for powering it on and off, and then turning the volume up and down. It also comes with a fairly basic remote control for doing similar basic things such as changing the audio source, changing the volume, and muting. Where the most power comes though is if you use the Technics app for connecting to the speaker that comes on your phone. Now with that app on your phone, you can control everything with this speaker. So you can control the volume and the audio input. You can actually turn off that annoying little light at the bottom of the speaker that you get. You can choose whether to dim it, or you can choose to turn it completely off. And I know some people are going to be happy about that. You can also have firmware upgrades using the app. You can change the EQ, so there are tone controls inside the app as well. However, that's probably one gripe I've got with these speakers, because the tone control only gives you control over bass and treble. So there's only 2 settings. Considering this speaker is supposed to be an all-in-one speaker setup, I would have liked a better EQ option inside the app. Like give me a 5 or 7 band EQ or something, just give me a bit more control over the sound. It is a minor gripe, and I honestly haven't felt the need to tinker with the tone, because I think the sound out of the box, once you've got it tuned for your room, which we'll get into later, sounds good enough anyway. Anyway, minor gripe. Now moving into the sound, I do quickly want to touch on some of the design features of this speaker that helps to give you the sound that it gives you, if that kind of makes any sense. The first thing is that the app has Space Tune built into it. So you can set this up, and you can either use the phone to tell the speakers how it's set. So you can say whether it's close to a wall, or they're far apart, or it's in the middle of a room, or you can use Space Tune, where it will use a series of beeps and booms coming out the speaker and uses a mic in the top of the speaker to then read the acoustics of your room and come up with the best EQ for your room. That works surprisingly well, and it's a must do before you start listening to these. Now, another thing that helps to give these really good sound and really directional sound are these speakers themselves. So inside here, you have got a 3/4 inch tweeter nestled inside the middle of a 6-inch woofer. So you've got coaxial drivers here. So the benefit of that is it gives you a single source where both the bass and the treble are coming from the same point in space. It's not new, other companies have done it, but it's really nice to see these on this speaker. It does also help to keep the compact size of the speaker down as well. At the bottom, you've also got this bass reflex port to help give you a bit of extra bass oomph. This is forward facing as well, and the benefit of that is a lot of other speakers have them rearward facing. So as soon as you start put a speaker against a wall, then it starts to interfere with the sound quality, you get rebounds off the wall and everything else. With it being forward facing, it means you can put these speakers closer to a wall without it significantly affecting the sound quality. That's really cool. Also inside these speakers, there is a solid wall between the front and the back of the speakers. So the front of the speakers has like the woofer and the tweeter and the reflex port at the bottom. Then there's a solid wall. Then there's all the electronics with the amp and everything else. So that massively helps to reduce the interference between the electronics at the back and the speakers at the front. That's all good. Also helps to keep the speakers really rigid as well. So volume wise, the amps in the back of these are going to give you 100 watts. They're going to give you 60 watts for the woofer and 40 watts for the tweeter. So these can get pretty loud. So with all that said and done, how do these actually sound? Well, they sound really good, although it does depend on what you're listening to. The clarity and the detail and the mids and the high frequency are amazing. There's a great separation between the different instruments. There's a nice amount of spatial sound. It just gives a great amount of detail and width to what you're listening to. And that pretty much plays out when you plug this into a TV using the HDMI port in the back as well. The detail in the sound when watching TV is astounding. If you watch something like the Battle of the Bastards scene in Game of Thrones, the beat of hooves as the horses fly past, you hear the distant clang of further battle, you can hear the rustle of clothes, you can hear things in the soundtrack that you never would have heard when you just use the TV or the speakers that are in your TV. It is astounding sound. However, the speakers do only go down to 41 Hertz. So if you want to feel or hear low-end bass, or if you want to feel and hear the bass and the thundering hooves going past you when watching a movie, well, these speakers aren't going to give you that. That lack of bass also means that these speakers can get lost somewhat in larger rooms. Fortunately, these speakers do come with a subwoofer out in the back of the primary speaker, so you can connect a separate sub to these to give you that extra bass. However, that is just an additional cost, so it is something to bear in mind depending upon the use case of what you're going to use these for. So if you're looking for a pair of speakers to replace your soundbar, or you want bone thumping bass, then I don't think these are the speakers for you. If, however, you want crystal clear sound to your music, you want an all-in-one system so you can pretty much put it anywhere and you can connect pretty much anything to it and it's really easy to use, then I think these pretty much fit the bill. These are going to cost you $2,999 US or £2,399 in the UK, which does put them in a similar price bracket to something like the KEF LS50 Wireless 2s, which these are undoubtedly meant to compete against. So I will leave purchase links to the CX700s in the description down below so that you can go check them out for yourself. If you want to look at maybe a turntable to go with these speakers, then make sure you check out the link up here. If you have enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and share it. Consider subscribing if you're not. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.